I want to pull up this clip from Michael Knowles. Now, I don't normally play clips from other people's show, but a lot of people are shouting out that Lauren Boebert appeared on Michael Knowles' show. And so I don't want to piggyback their content, but guys, you know, this is big. So shout out to Michael Knowles. And I want to play this statement from Lauren Boebert.
GOP might be able to figure out the sort of
people are saying that once they heard Lauren Boebert lay this out, they really went hard against McCarthy.
Figure out if they had an ounce of self-awareness, but they don't, so instead they're blaming Lauren Boebert. We have Lauren on the call. Lauren, thank you so much. I know you're very, very busy right now, but thank you for making time to come on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me on, Michael.
So, Lauren, where does it all stand? We've given a recap of the speaker fight through last night on the show. Kevin McCarthy lost 3 rounds of voting 2 days ago. He loses 3 rounds of voting yesterday. You and those terrible, evil House Freedom Caucus Republicans, you're not budging here. So what happens?
Well, let's begin at where it started. This started in the summer. We wanted to handle this privately and have a solution before January 3rd. These negotiations began in the summer, and they were dismissed because Kevin McCarthy thought he was going to have this massive red wave, and our votes did not matter. When he saw that the $300 million that he raised did not produce the red wave that he promised, he realized quickly he's going to need our votes. And so some concessions were put into play. It was very difficult to get them into play. It was difficult to get them approved with our rules process, the way Washington, D.C. operates and functions. We want to fundamentally change this town. It is broken. It is less popular with the American people than cockroaches. So we have to get something right here, and we cannot go along with the status quo. Well, on January 2nd, 2 of my fellow colleagues and myself, Matt Gaetz, Scott Perry, we walked into Leader McCarthy's office after whipping votes all day long and handed him 218 votes. We said, here it is. Let's seal the deal. Here's some common sense issues that you can put forward, some promises that you can make. Single member motion to vacate. So there is accountability on the third in line to the presidency of the United States. You cannot demand more responsibility and follow Nancy Pelosi's precedents of less accountability. So this is our check and balance on the speaker. And that was a priority for me personally, certainly, and for many others. But then things like bring the Texas border plan to the floor for a vote. Bring a term limits bill to the floor for a vote. Any member who wants to reduce spending in an amendment will make that amendment in order so we can bring it to the floor and have a vote. Earmarks, bring them to the floor.
Oh no, we got an ad.
Capital.
You
don't use Brave, bro?
We do use Brave.
We do, actually.
And you got an ad on that?
Yeah, we can skip it. Sorry, Michael. Here we go. We're back.
A vote. This is spending money that we do not have. So let's at least have a vote on it instead of packing it into a bill where we have no option to either swallow the whole thing or say no way. These are things that we presented to him. He solicited a list from us of committee assignments. All members provide committee assignment requests. We know where our talents and skills are best utilized.
I want to point out real quick, though, I think what's big here is she mentioned McCarthy thought he was going to get a red wave, which meant he didn't need to actually go to the Freedom Caucus for anything because he wouldn't need their votes. He thought they were probably going to have, what, like 240 seats? And then when they realized it wasn't manifesting, it's like, uh-oh. So this guy, it sounds like really McCarthy did it to himself.
And we provided that list. Kevin McCarthy made a great argument saying, listen, the people in this group only want 2 committees. I need you spread out. I want you to have more influence. And we agreed with that. And we said, you know, this is a time constraint on many of the members. It's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, but we're willing to take that sacrifice and have these committee assignments that bear more pressure. And so we provided that to him. And then January 2nd, when all of that was laid on the table, Kevin McCarthy laughed us out of the room, said that it was a selfish wish list, and would not take the deal. Well, now here we stand, Michael. I no longer have those 218 votes to provide to Kevin McCarthy. So it doesn't matter if I go to the floor today and vote for Kevin McCarthy, because there are now more than ever votes that he does
21.
not have to get to that speakership. This is very important to know. He walked out of that meeting and lied about what we requested. Trust is absolutely broken if there was any to begin with. And this is a huge problem. We want unity in the Republican Party. And I believe now is the time to start seriously considering consensus candidates who will unify the Republican Party so we can get to work for the American people.
So Byron Donalds is that guy?
Yep.
Why do you think?
I just like his personality. He's 6'2", 265, man. Did you see that interview where they're like, what do you think about them threatening something, and you? He's like, dude, I'm 6'2", 260. I'm not afraid of that.
He's like, I'm not scared. Yeah, the retaliation.
Because they were using those words like threaten and are you going to fight on the floor of Congress? Are you going to fight for you? And he's like, yo. And he just turned it around on an actual fight. Like, they're not actually going to fight. They're not actually threatening each other just because someone might lose their job, you know. Because you could argue getting your income taken away could be a form of life-threatening.
That was a Chad Alpha statement when he just smiled and said, I'm 6'2", 265. I'm not worried.
Byron, come on in, man. I want to get Lauren in here, too. These guys are close by. I think it might be even a weekend. If you guys are up for a weekend, we could go down there or something. But I want to kind of amplify the messages. Were you about to say something?
Yeah, just that I'm glad the Patriots in the Republican Party are holding out. People...
You're good.
People like... Say his name again. People like Ali Alexander have been enduring lawfare from the January 6th committee for like 2 years now. They made him spend his life savings. They made him defend himself for 8 hours. And if he said one word wrong, they would have tried to throw him in prison like they did to Roger Stone. So the fact that this January 6th committee exists, it's been pushing lies. It's been used as lawfare to try and decapitate the strongest political leaders on the right. Now that we have the House, but now that the Republicans have the House, they should use the January 6th committee and actually do something for the Patriots, for their constituents, and go and investigate what have the Democrats been doing with this committee? What happened on January 5th? Was this whole thing some sort of psyop that was ginned up by the intelligence agencies? Because it looked like they got a lot going on there, and Revolver News has had a lot of reporting about that.
Ray Epps, with the transcripts that got released, we absolutely need to see them go after that.
That's right.
Yep.
Maybe I want. It's the weirdest thing when the transcript comes out and there's a quote from Ray Epps saying that he orchestrated. He texted someone saying that, and then Kinzinger tweeted out that it was completely untrue. It is shocking to me that there can be a transcript you can read, and these people are just smiling like never happened. But there are people stupid enough to believe him.
He's on video, cheering this whole thing on, orchestrating it. And then another question is, who opened those doors, those magnetic doors that couldn't be opened by humans but were opened from the inside? Those are important questions that we deserve to know what actually happened here. Who opened those doors? Why was security called off? What in the world was going on here with Ray Epps? There's a lot of questions. I think those questions deserve to be answered, and the January 6th Commission is not answering them.
The video of them opening the doors you're talking about is really interesting.
The magnetic doors, yes.
It's from inside the building, and there's people outside yelling, and then someone walks up to the magnetic door, sealed doors, they're barred shut. They look back and like point up at someone, and then the doors are magnetically unlocked and opened, and then all these people start pouring in. Who opened the door? Who verified the door being open? Who pushed the... I want to know too.
It's crazy video because someone, look, for all we know, someone broke into the security booth and hit the button. Maybe. Okay, let's get that video released so we can figure out what's going on.
But that would have been a talking point by the corporate media and the Democrats. Look at these. They had insider knowledge. Yep. They knew what their door. They did. They ran dry drills. They knew where the button was. We haven't had any of that. But they would have sensationalized it to the highest degree that they could. Sorry, Ian.
I was just thinking about if there really was like real violent damage done that day. Like if people went in with weapons and started shooting, the cops in the building would have killed a bunch of people and then put a ton of people in prison, and it would have been a really big deal. But it was just like a guy in a Viking suit laughing as people around him were like, "Yeah, dude." I mean, I'm not saying there was violence going on that day. It was
wasn't that guy like telling a cop who was like, "Sorry, yeah, we'll get out of here, man.
Yeah,
we're not trying to be disrespectful."
Really,
my friend
cordial.
Jason Rink is directing a film about him called Q Sent Me, and he's got hours of interviews with the Q shaman. And basically, the guy's a well-meaning dude that walked in, you know, he was allowed into the building, and they're treating him like he's Osama bin Laden. It's the craziest thing in the world.
Wasn't he on mushrooms? Or
I wouldn't be surprised. Are you confusing with me? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. Am I confusing?
You see, they
with
just legalized mushrooms in Oregon? First state, it's completely recreationally legal now. I just saw Dennis McKenna tweeted it out. Anyway, let's get back to, I don't know if he was on mushrooms or not. I wouldn't be surprised. That's the kind of thing people have done on when you're dosing hard. I've seen.
That's a bad trip.
Yeah.
A lot of people had pointed out that hearing Lauren Boebert on Michael Knowles' show made them really just anti-McCarthy. And I agree. You know, we didn't listen to everything about it, so you should definitely check out Michael Knowles' interview with her. I don't want to, you know, just ride the whole segment, but I agree. I had heard rumors about it, but the main point is that they had an opportunity in the summer to do a deal. McCarthy thought he wouldn't need it. The Republicans performed terribly for a variety of reasons. Now he's desperate and he can't get it. Good. You reap what you sow, man.
If they can't, I say we, but it's them, unfortunately. They're representing we, the people. If we can't get to a consensus about who it is, are we just going to sit here for the next 6, 7, 8 weeks and stream live?
Every show is just like the house is there again.
Watch them go home for dinner at 8 right before the show?
We need popcorn, first of all, right? And yeah, hell yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I called it life and death last night. People were like, "Oh, haha!" Ian called this life and death, but I mean, it's the leadership of the most powerful military on earth is now finding itself in a gridlock pattern, which is I'm chilling. I mean, American citizens are pretty much in the same state they were last week.
I think the bigger issue is that tomorrow everyone's like, "I'm over it, dude. We get it. Kevin McCarthy can't win. Why do they keep doing this?" You know, I get it. The alternative is what? A motion to adjourn? That's not going to work. I think. If I would like, can we get a motion to never be allowed to adjourn until this is resolved? That's what I'd vote for. I'd be like, no one's leaving. Their job is basically to sit around as it is. Is like the easiest. Look, right now there's some dude loading bags into a truck, loading boxes into a truck. Heavy lifting, covered in sweat. His back is hurting, and he's getting paid less than these people to sit around and complain about each other.
This is why I'm afraid or concerned about leaving it up to the House to find their own speaker, because they are going to break each other's will and then just browbeat people down to like, okay, fine, I don't care anymore. Take it. Take whoever you want. That's not the way you elect leadership. We need the people deciding who is going to be the voice of that movement.
Well, I'll say it's tough for us to decide who's going to be the voice of that movement. I'm living in Arizona. I love Arizona. I think it's the greatest state in the country. And right now, I was there. It took 3 hours for me to vote. I watched a ton of people get out of line. They had all kinds of malfunctions where the voting machines were not taking, the 19 inches instead of 20 is what they said.
Yeah, the ballot was rejecting the machine was rejecting the ballots.
They were rejecting the ballots and the tabulators, and they had a 2-day trial. If you watch that trial, Shane Cashman, Timcast.com, wrote an incredible article about it.
Yeah, Shane's great.
Shane's a great. I want to meet Shane. He's cool.
Yeah,
he
wrote even cooler after you meet him.
His article was really good, and it was not assertive. He didn't come out and say, this definitively was this. He said, here's the evidence presented. Here's what I experienced. The media wasn't even talking about the evidence that the witnesses were presenting. It's crazy.
So the judge in that case, I don't know how the judge got to the conclusion after those 2 days when every Republican witness said factually, here is what happened. Like, this is against the law. This is crazy. There's no chain of custody. And then the Democrat witnesses, the Democrat lawyers are flustered. It's crazy. And then to dismiss that case.
Well, I'll put it very lightly. There are bad judges who make bad rulings. If however you want to interpret that, Kari Lake's appealing. So the interesting thing is that moving forward, I don't know too much about it, but I'm very optimistic. My understanding is that the argument made by Kari Lake's legal team is based on precedent set by the same court she's now petitioning. So it would be really, really, I think they planned this. You can't imagine that Kari Lake's legal team, after seeing everything they've seen, did not have a plan in place. It would be really weird if I think they're going to the Arizona Supreme Court, rejected its own precedents and said, no, actually we changed our mind on it would just be like, it's kind of setting them up, you know?
It'd be a little bit like 2020 in repeat. The fact that not a single Supreme Court case was held in 2020 was just insane. I mean, it's not crazy precedent. Bush v. Gore, we saw it in 2000 that they will hear a case, okay, what's going on with the elections? But we didn't even get to hear a case in 2020. And for the Arizona Supreme Court, if they don't have the courage to hear this case, then I question the legitimacy of our entire country.
You can give a shout out to Thomas and Alito, who agreed to hear the Texas v. Pennsylvania, and then you had Coney Barrett, you had Kavanaugh who said no, you had Roberts who said no. So I mean, look, some of these are Trump's appointees. And the issue is, when that suit happened, and this is a lawsuit, it's an argument that never got to happen. Okay, it's questions about the legality of voting procedure, nothing to do with fraud. They called it a fraud lawsuit over and over again in the press because they were lying. This was Texas saying, we don't think the procedure held in the law by Pennsylvania is in line with what the Constitution dictates. And the Supreme Court is supposed to handle original jurisdiction, that is, disputes between states. Thomas and Alito both agreed, whether we want to or not, we are obligated to take up a court case between states. And then everyone else just said, we're not getting anywhere near this. And so now you have people who are upset that these questions didn't get resolved. What ends up happening? Arizona. And now you have people whose confidence in the system is shattered. I have to wonder if that's what they wanted.
I have to say, because you mentioned Trump earlier, these are Trump's justices. Trump listened to McConnell. McConnell picked the justices for him. And Trump has had track record of putting the worst people around him, picking the worst people around him. He endorsed McCarthy for this speaker race that we're all enjoying, where McCarthy is failing over and over and over again. And Trump, for people, I love him. I voted for him. I tried everything I could to help get him in office both times. But I think he's retired, and we should want him to be retired because he doesn't know how to put competent people around him.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.